السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه ومن والاه ومن اتبع هداه إلى يوم الدين. أما بعد, my dear brothers and sisters and dear viewers, we are continuing our topic, the way to people's hearts, and tip 21. And it is known, this noble quality, something called mudarah. Mudarah means that you know how to deal with people and how to handle them and how to socialize with them in a nice manner. So that is the roughly meaning of the mudarah, because hardly you'll find an equivalent word for it. So Aisha radiallahu anha said that a man asked permission to enter upon the Prophet ﷺ. Listen to this. So the Prophet ﷺ said, give permission to him. What a bad son of his people, or what a bad man of his people. Then when he entered, he spoke politely to him. Aisha said, so I said, O Allah's Messenger, you said about him what you said before, and then we spoke to him nicely, politely. The Prophet ﷺ said, oh Aisha, the worst people in the sight of Allah and on the day of resurrection before Allah are those whom the people desert or abandon in order to save themselves from their evil speech. This is in Bukhari and Muslim. This beautiful hadith teaches us how to deal with the people. You don't repel evil with evil. This man, the Prophet ﷺ said before entering upon the Prophet ﷺ that he is an evil person, a bad man. And the Prophet ﷺ never would not lie against him. So what the Prophet ﷺ said was true. And yet, he received him well. He received him well. So much so that Aisha was shocked from the way the Prophet ﷺ treated him, from the way the Prophet ﷺ received him. He said, O Prophet of Allah, just before entering, you told us what an evil person he is, and then you received him well and talked to him nicely, politely. So the Prophet ﷺ said to Aisha, listen Aisha, there are some people who are the worst in the sight of Allah and on the day of resurrection. They are so evil. So the people, they try to avoid their devil, their evil, their shar, by treating them good, by treating them nicely. So he said, oh Aisha, the worst people in sight of Allah, before Allah on the day of resurrection, are those whom the people desert and try to avoid them. Some people, just the people, they try to avoid them, not to talk to them. Because if you come to them or talk to them, they don't listen, they might hurt you, they might insult you. So the people always try to avoid them and they try to be on the safe side. So how can you contain such people? Just by pretending and treating them nicely. The Sahaba, and this is not hypocrisy, this is not hypocrisy, this is called mudarah, where you neutralize the person. By treating him nicely, you make him refrain from being evil to you, from treating you badly. In other words, you are forcing him to respect you. Because you treated him nicely. So at least you will make him neutral. At least you will make him feel shy. Because he will say to himself, why should I hurt this person? This person is nice, should not be hurt. So that is the fruit of being kind and accommodating such people. The Sahaba said, كنا نكشر في وجوه أقوام وإن قلوبنا لتلعنهم. We used to smile when we receive some people, though we are cursing them in our hearts. We don't love them, we don't like them, we hate them, but when we receive them, we smile. We smile. So sometimes a person, you don't like him, but what to do? He's around you. So the Sahaba said, many people, when we receive them, we smile. We force ourselves to smile, though we don't like them, we don't love them. So this is al-mudarah. So you adorn yourself with this quality. So at least you make that person neutral. You save yourself from his evil, as the Prophet ﷺ mentioned. Another noble quality, another tip, is the samaha, the magnanimity, being magnanimous. The Prophet ﷺ said in the hadith in Bukhari, may Allah have mercy on a person who is easygoing when he buys, sells, or asks the repayment of a loan. He's easygoing, soft-hearted. People, they like to deal with him. So when a person is magnanimous, have this beautiful, noble quality, then when he talks to the people, they respect him. And this is also one of the tips which paves the way to people's hearts. Tip number 23, the purity of one's heart. Again, remember, what comes from the heart goes to the heart. So if we purify our hearts and we don't hold any grudge, malice, ill feeling towards any human being. You know, Sayyidina Umar ibn Khattab, radiyallahu anhu, when he passed by an old man, religious man, and he saw him trying his best, worshipping Allah, but in the wrong way. Yes, the man thinking that he is worshipping Allah correctly, but of course, that belief which he holds is wrong. So the Sayyidina Umar, when he saw that man and his devotion, he wept, he cried. And when he was asked, why did you cry? So because of this poor man. He thinks that he's going to heaven and he's going to hell. Because what he's upon is incorrect. What he's upon is disbelief rather than the belief. And he is wasting his time and wasted his life. So when I thought about him, that moved me, and that's why I cried. So Muslims always, the sincere Muslim, should always think and feel pity for the people, those who are lost, those who are destined to hell. They don't know the way of success. They don't know the way that will lead them to the true salvation. They are striving and working hard, but all in vain. All their deeds will be filthy rags on the day of resurrection. So for that reason, Sayyidina Umar, radiallahu anhu, he wept. Because a Muslim always has kind heart. My dear brothers and sisters, stay tuned. We'll be back inshallah after the break.
Paradise must be won each day.
Welcome back, my dear brothers and sisters and dear viewers. We were discussing before the break that noble quality, which is the purity of one's heart. When a person has that soft heart and pure heart, he always thinks for the people and he wishes them good. And when he sees people who are not on the right track, it really grieves him. So when such a person with such beautiful heart talks to the people find his words are touchy, and they touch them and they reach their hearts. And that depends on the sincerity. Pure hearts, a person who's sincere, few words are enough. Another tip, which is forgiveness, that you forgive the people. Keep forgiving. Don't keep holding and keeping in your heart and develop this bad and evil inside you, and you start thinking of retaliation and keep throwing. Don't hold anything in your heart. Keep this heart clean. So when you meet Allah, He is pleased with you, because Allah loves clean hearts. يوم لا ينفع مال ولا بنون إلا من أتى الله بقلب سليم. And the day when no wealth, neither wealth nor children will avail, except the one who comes and meets Allah with qalb salim, pure, clean from all types of ills. Forgiveness. Prophet Muhammad says in this beautiful hadith, whoever forgives will be raised up, elevated more. You forgive for the sake of Allah, Allah will elevate your status. Keep forgiving for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. May Allah bless us with this beautiful quality. Amen. Another tip, my dear brothers and sisters, you should always return and turn to the truth, and should never reject the truth. And when the truth is presented, accept it. So the one who always accepts the haqq is not arrogant. The one who will admit, I was mistaken, the people respect him. And the people like him. And when he talks, people are ready to listen to him. And his words, they find their way to their hearts. Why? Because he's not arrogant. Not arrogant. The truth comes, he bows, and he accepts. He admits that I was mistaken. And this is the character, and this is the manners, and this is the situation of the true, and this is the main characteristics of the real scholars. You find many scholars, they made mistakes. So they compiled and they wrote books that I was mistaken, I said this, and that, and I ask Allah forgiveness. and the correct way and the correct thing is this and that. We know them. One of them, Hafidahullah, is one of our mashayikh. There was corresponding going between him and Sheikh bin Baz, rahimahullah. No one knew about this correspondence. No one knew. And Sheikh bin Baz would advise him, correct him here and there. He published all the letters that, and all this correspondence that was going on between him and Sheikh bin Baz in a small booklet. This shows that this particular scholar, Hafidahullah, may Allah protect him, and may Allah elevate his status, Ameen, that he is sincere. He could have hidden, he could have kept all these letters in his drawers and no one knew about them. No. He published them. So the people, they knew what was going between him and Sheikh bin Baz, rahimahullah ta'ala. And the way Sheikh bin Baz would reply, you can see the politeness, you can see the rahmah, the kindness. This is how the ulama should be. So they guide their students. If their students, they made mistakes, they accommodate them. They open their hearts for them. Listen to me, my dear brothers and sisters, and the da'is in particular. The Muslim youth, they need us. They need people to open their hearts for them. They need someone to listen to them. They need someone who will listen to them and then guide them. Don't start criticizing them and pushing them away, even if they made mistakes. They need someone to pull them. Don't push them to make them extreme, to go to the extreme, to make them extremist. Pull them. Try to understand their problems. Educate them like the father with his children. Scholars should act like parents. Those youth, they are sincere, but they make mistakes out of their zeal and lack of knowledge. So they need someone to understand them and help them and give them this kindness. We need to develop the trust between the youth and the scholars. Because many of the youth, they don't trust the people of knowledge. So that trust has to be built and strengthened. So a person who's humble, down to earth, not arrogant. If he made mistakes, he admits, I was mistaken. People, they respect him. And when he talks, they listen to him. Another tip, my dear brothers and sisters. Accepting one's apology. Someone made a mistake, or mistakes, and then he comes and he apologizes. That's it. Say, no problem. What was more important now, don't make this mistake again and learn from your mistakes. And in this regard, Prophet Muhammad ﷺ tells us in this beautiful hadith, he said, as Aisha said, the Prophet of Allah ﷺ, Allah's Messenger ﷺ said, forgive the people of good qualities their slips, but not faults to which prescribed penalties apply. What does this hadith mean? He said, if people who are having reputation in their communities, like heads of communities, if someone of them made a mistake, just overlook it, ignore it, as long as they don't commit a sin which has a prescribed had. prescribed punishment. Anything, anyone, a slip of the tongue. Someone said something and he didn't mean it. We should not just catch that mistake and magnify it. No, just ignore it. And also he said in Bukhari, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and there is no one who loves to accept an excuse more than Allah. And because of this, he sent the bringers of good news and the warners. Allahu Akbar. If this is Allah, who loves to accept people's excuses. Oh Allah, forgive me. It's done. I have forgiven you. So if Allah loves to forgive, and He loves and He accepts when people apologize. So a person who accepts people's apology, people, they respect him, and now their hearts are open for him, and he can talk to them and they can listen to him. Also, another tip, which is covering up people's faults, mistakes, because none of us, my dear brothers and sisters, is perfect. None. None of us. So if someone made a mistake, give him the cover up his faults, his mistake. Also, people, they like a person who is generous. Also, people, they like a person who intercedes when people come to him and they ask for help, he intercedes for them. Because they know you, that people, they respect you in the community, and they have a problem, so they come to you and say, please, Sheikh so-and-so, help us. Talk to this person or talk to that person. So people, they like the people who intercede for them. May Allah make us really helpful to others. My dear brothers and sisters, this is the end of our series. May Allah accept our deeds and yours. May Allah protect you and preserve you. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.